This picture was actually taken at Aunt Ida's funeral.
And Mother was ill.
And it was maybe a month before Mom died. She wasn't just ill, she was dying.
Yeah.
But we have Jack, and we have Gail, and we have Sue, and my mother and Kathy. And they had lost a little sister. So they understood a little bit about all of that, and it made them stay close. Sometimes loss either drives you away or it makes you stay close. And we loved having family get-togethers and family reunions. And that I remember, it was always Gail and Jack that would cook the meat. And always so good. Whatever they did with that chicken. When they fried that chicken, oh my gosh, I could have a piece of that now. So delicious. And Kathy was in Winslow, so she wasn't around as much as the rest because it was just kind of happens. But Sue is the first person, I will tell you. It might sound funny for your kids because they have so many books. I had never owned my own book. I didn't have one. And I had surgery on my leg where I had a cyst removed. And I still remember that Sue gave me the Snow White book and one of the Dr. Seuss books. And I had 2 books that were my books that were from Sue. And I just remember laying in that bed reading those books over and over and over again, and just being so thankful that I had an aunt that was so cool that would bring me my own books. And I loved it, and I loved Kathy. She was always so sweet to us, Rocky. But the ones that I just loved at the family things was Jack and Gail and their cooking, and just everything was fun, and it was going to be something outdoors.
I had a completely different. We lived with Mimi and Dada.
Yeah.
When my parents got divorced, and then Sue's only 5 years older than me. Jack's only the difference between Tammy and I.
Yeah.
Kathy's is only 10 years older than me.
Yeah.
They treated us like brothers and sisters, not nieces and nephews. They took us everywhere. Kathy, I remember working at Valley National Bank, and would come home, gather us, and go to the Wayside restaurant and get us chili dogs and cherry cokes. And so when Bill went to work at Winslow, I rekindled that relationship with Kathy that I missed so bad, and we loved it. I cut her hair, the last haircut. When she died, I did her hair and had Mary Helen and her granddaughters come in and do her nails and everything. And they said, "We can't do this, Debbie." And I said, "Talk to her like she's alive." Because I did Crystal's hair. And I told Jeff and Gil, "I can't do Crystal's hair. Can't do it." And they said, "Yes, you can." And then, because there was glass in it, it was a mess. And then to do Kathy's, those girls tell me every time I see them, that was the best thing that I ever made them do. They said, Mary Helen still said, "Debbie, we talked to her, it was peaceful, it was the best thing." And I love my aunts and uncles. They were so good to us. They were
fun. But
Sue used to buy me clothes.
I didn't get that, Debbie. I didn't get the clothes.
I got clothes. Sue bought me clothes. I was in high school.
I got books and you got clothes.
I was in high school. She bought me clothes. She gave me things.
I remember that little Mustang she drove.
The sports car that she let Jeff borrow, and him and David went and was storing grapefruit, and it ended up to be taken down to the police station. It was the chief of police's son.
He threw grapefruit at him out of her car.
Got take it down to the police station for her.
But
we were.
she was
They
that
shared
classy.
everything.
She was a classy aunt for
Very.
me.
Very.
She was just fun, and I loved when she'd come over. I just loved when she'd come over, and Kathy, I didn't get that with, but at Thanksgivings and things like that, when we would all get together, then I got to see that part of Kathy that I just loved.
Jack called me sweetie, and I cherished that today. And
I love that.
Gail twists ears. Gail twisted ears like Dada.
Like Dada. I love that drive I got to have with Jack and Sue when we went to St. George. We had the best time. We just talked and visited, and we had lost Velma, and then we had lost Gail, and I got to drive them, and we stayed in the same hotel, and we'd go down every morning for breakfast that had the thing. We'd all just sit there. I think what I remember most, if there's one thing about our family, is when you have a tragedy, we have to be together. When you have something awesome going on, we have to be together.
We don't pull apart.
We just want to be together. And I feel that now. And still. And I want that to carry on. If there's one thing of our family, yes, we do hard things. Yes, we do. But we also look at the tender mercies that got us through those hard things. And we bond together and we get through them together.
We went to Chuckarama.
We stayed Morgan's favorite place.
Stayed for hours. We stayed for hours, and we kept eating and kept eating. And
Just
see, I
eat a little
couldn't eat.
here and eat a
So
little there.
mashed potatoes and gravy, and
That's when she went into. Well, she
That's
didn't
where-
go into labor
I
with
had
Keely,
been in
but
labor
you had been in labor. But that's where she
I almost had
really.
Keely at Chuckarama.
Yeah, she did. She
Oh,
did.
Uncle Jack's pickle platter at Thanksgiving.
Yes. Oh.
Yes.
But you know what? What was weird is he started bringing that in his older
later.
years.
Well,
But-
he would always come early so he could
Oh,
taste the gravy and the turkey
I
to
love
tell you
that. You know
it
what?
tasted good.
And he would get to our house how early?
So early.
8:00 in the morning, and
So
it's an
early.
hour drive.
And he'd bring
And
every kind of pickle jar you could think of.
Yep. And
He
have
would
me
not
put 'em
bring
on a
the platter. He just knew that there would
But-
be a platter.
But he brought sweet pickles.
Yes.
He
Every
brought
kind of sweet pickle
pickles.
you could think
Yes. But I remember him so many times at Thanksgiving coming in my kitchen and, okay, let's taste those noodles. Let's taste that gravy. Let's see, okay, you're going to need to put a little more of this in and I just loved it.
And
It's-
see, I knew him when they were in high school and junior high. I remember going to football games and his best friend was Jack Desane. I remember him playing in a band. He played in a band in high school.
see,
Sue was a cheerleader. All that we were part of, and it was a big part of our lives.
yeah.
And me and Dad, I think Sue and Jack, they shared so much with us. But Sue says, Debbie, we loved it. You are our little brothers and sisters. It was fun. It's like Alden and them with your kids.
Mm-hmm.
They love it, and they loved us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
We were blessed.
We were.
We were so
and see, we were the
fortunate.
only kids for a long time that was around. Gail had Janina, that's Randy's age, and Tracy, but they got divorced and went to Prescott.
Right.
So we were the only grandkids for a long time around.
Yeah. And honestly, other than Janina and those guys who you knew better than I did, now I've gotten close, and I love Janina. But most of my cousins, I felt more like an aunt to them than
Yeah.
than a
Well,
cousin.
Jessica still calls us Aunt
Yeah,
and Tammy.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
She
yeah.
doesn't call us
Yeah.
cousin.
And Jason still does that. I just saw him and he put his arm around me, and to him, he just so sweet, and I just love it. Because they were
Yeah.
kind of the age of our kids.
Yeah.
So, but,
My favorite story, one of them, of Gail and Velma,
oh gosh, there's some funny ones of Gail and Velma.
is always Velma telling the story. Cause
Yes.
she's
Oh, yeah.
so
She was a-
funny.
But he told stories.
But I guess they were driving somebody's truck through one of the drive-through car
Car
washes.
washes.
Oh,
It was Luther's car.
And
Luther's
the
car.
windows came down somehow, and she starts yelling at Gail, Gail! Gail! And they gotta like square up but to like fill the window, and it's like winter time, and they're squaring up so that the water can't get into the truck, and like the whole time, Gail! Gail!
Randy
And
they
and
did
Yvette
some
went to
funny
see
things.
them when Randy and Yvette was first married, and Velma flipped over in a recliner. And Gail goes, "Well, hell, Velma, can't you sit upright when we got company?"
well,
I mean, they just
I'll tell you what one of the funniest for me was I had come down from Tucson with Brandon, and because Gail and Velma were coming for the weekend and I wanted to see them. So I came and stayed with my mom, and Gail and Velma came down, and they were going to go over to get some new temple clothing. And they said, "Tammy, can we take Brandon with us? We would love to take Brandon." And I said, "Are you sure?" He was like 3 years old. "Yeah, we want to take Brandon with us." And I said, "Okay." And back then we didn't worry about car seats or
No.
even seat belts. We didn't care.
No.
Okay, go get on their lap. Go. So they're gone about an hour or so and come back, and Gail and Velma are talking to my mom and telling her about, how beautiful the temple looked and everything. And I said, "Hey, you guys, where's Brandon?" And Velma goes, "Gail?" and Gail goes, "Velma?" I said, "Where is Brandon?" They had forgotten him at the clothing store at the temple. They had run off because he was so quiet, and very quiet little guy. He didn't mess or anything. He had gone and sat up on a chair and was doing a little puzzle or something in there, and just completely not even paying attention. They walked right off and left him. Brandon, one of the ladies, comes over and goes, "Did you get left?" "Yes, but they'll be back. They'll be back. They'll figure it out and they'll be back." We all run in there. We get in the car, all of us. I think my mom, me, Gail, Velma, all of us. And we run in there, and Brandon's just like, "See, they came back." They came. We're like, "Oh my gosh."
see Gail and Velma were never active till Crystal died,
That's right.
and that took Gail back into the church. He
Yeah.
realized that he couldn't do anything at that funeral, that the brothers were doing it. His nephews were doing everything, and he couldn't participate. And he realized, and Velma joined, and she ended up stake relief society president, board relief society president. She did it all.
Yeah. But a lot of fun.
I remember meeting Velma, and I was
Oh,
8 years old, and she was just 18, and she had this
Well, see, I would have been 1.
for Thanksgiving.
Oh no.
This, what I call a mermaid dress. It was real tight, and then it went out, and I remember thinking she was the most gorgeous thing.
Velma was
Very,
very,
very
pretty. She was a beauty.
And
Yeah.
I remember them getting married, everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.